Well, hello everyone, and happy Monday. I'm Sheryl with um, Lisa Horton Crafts, and I'm here today to share a fun project that I made. I hope everybody can hear me okay. It looks like looks like I'm okay, looks like I'm live. So let's see who we got. Lorraine and two Lorraines, Lorraine G and Lorraine Sanders. Hi, how are you? Hi, Katie. And Jean, how are you? And hi, Rebecca. Hope you're doing well. Well, thank you all for stopping by, and we will go ahead and get started. I guess. Thank you, Rebecca, for letting me know. I'm glad you can hear me. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on. So for today, I'm going to be using these inks. I've got they're all the matte blending inks, and I have Woodland Moss and Tourmaline Blue, Spiced Plum, and Antique Pink. And let's see, hi Tracy and hi Jane, nice to see you all, glad you're here. And I'm going to be using the layering stencils for the rose butterfly and the coordinating 3D embossing folder. And then for my sentiment, I'm going to be using the mini sentiments. So this will be a quick and easy. I think there's 6 stencils in this set, so it will go pretty quickly. And let's see, I made a couple cards, but here's the one I'll show you now, and I'll show you the other one that I made later. But this is the sample card. And let me go ahead and get my Ultimate tool and bring that in here. Move my inks over this way. I think you can still see everything. Yeah, okay. And then I will start. This is a 5x7 card, so I'm going to start with a piece of, this is a cream color cardstock instead of white that I typically use. And this is cut down. The panel is a little smaller than the card base, so it's 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So I just took that in 1/2 inch. And so to get started, before I actually bring in the stencils, I'm going to add a little bit of color to this panel. I just want it really light, but it's going to be light, I guess, but you'll still be able to actually see the color. So I'm going to take some of that ink off my brush and just get that bottom with a nice, oops, you know what? Let's flip it over because I don't like how I had too much ink and I was brushing too hard. So let's flip it over and try that again. Okay, so let me just make sure. I think I got too much on the edges that I didn't take off. So we'll try that again because I want to keep it nice, nice and light. And if I go over it more, I'd rather do that and have it a nice smooth ink than have it blotchy the way I was starting out earlier. And some of it is going to get covered anyway, and it doesn't really matter all that much. But just to be safe, I'll do that. So I'm putting Tourmaline Blue here at the bottom, and then up top, I'm going to put the Antique Pink. So we'll have the two different shades there on this card in the background. And you could have a solid background. You don't even need to ink the background. The embossing folder is so pretty on its own, but I just wanted to have these extra little bit of color just showing on this. I just like that look. I think it kind of softens things up even more. This is already a soft and delicate embossing folder, but I like that it just seems to add a little bit more. I'm not an artist, so I'm sure there's something technical about it. I don't have any idea what that is. I just make what I think is pretty. Oh, I hope you're having a good Monday. It is here in Central Ohio. It's a little nippy today, but it is so pretty. The sun is shining, and that just always makes me so happy. It just lifts my spirit to have the sun out. Just makes everything better. Okay, so I think I've got color, enough color on there. You can hardly see the pink on the screen, but it's on there. Okay, yeah, there's more ink on there than shows on the camera screen, at least on my camera. So now I'll go ahead and bring in my stencils, and I want to line this up so that the leaves here are kind of, I just want this kind of in the middle, and I'm going to actually line it up. I'm going to use the second stencil because it has these leaves on the bottom, and I want to make sure that I actually get all of those leaves onto this panel. So I'll use this to sit my paper down, and then I'll go to my mat from last week. I still did not wash this thing. I know I'm terrible. So there's hardly any sticky. I just use it so much. But then I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I think I will put just a teeny bit of tape in the corner because I really don't want this panel to move. And it's a good sized panel. It'll be easy enough to realign it if it does move, but I just like to save myself the hassle. And I'll just put a teeny bit of tape up there. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and start our inking on the stencils. And I'm going to start with the Woodland Moss. I'm using two colors for my leaves. I'm using Woodland Moss and the Tourmaline Blue. But let me start, because I tend, if I open up both my inks at the same time, I end up using the wrong ink at the wrong time. So I'm going to start with the Woodland Moss, and I'm just at the base of all the leaves. I'm starting first and just feathering the color out. I just want it a little bit darker at the base. And then these are tiny spots. I could use a smaller stencil brush, but some of these leaves are bigger, so I'm just, instead of swapping brushes, I'm just using the one brush. And I'm looking at the stencil, at the image actually, to see which way these leaves are going, because this leaf is actually pointing downward. So I want the darker up here. And for this one, which one is this one? That's this one. So I just have to, it doesn't matter really, but for what I'm trying to do, I just want to make sure I'm inking it the way that I think I'm inking it. And then this one is hiding behind the flower, so we'll go darker here and move it out till it gets lighter. And just do that for all the leaves all the way around with the woodland moss. Now up here is where the butterfly is, and for my card I'm going to leave the butterfly just floating in that pink, and I will enhance him a little bit later. So I won't be inking up that cute little butterfly that's up there in the corner. There's so much detail in this this little stencil. Like all of Lisa's stencils, they're just so well done. I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with the Tourmaline Blue, and I think I'm going to use the smaller stencil brush because I just want to add a little extra hint of color on these leaves, and just try to get the corners. I don't want it too dark, but you know, there's going to be a variety of color on these leaves, and so I want the tips to be a little different for sure. And then any place else that I think might look good, that's really, I'm just eyeballing it. No real, I'm sure there's technical better ways to do this than what I do, but I'm just kind of coloring, adding this little shade, not really shading, but just additional color so that it's not a monochromatic color leaf. And I've got enough here that I can just use the ink that's on the stencil to add some of the tourmaline to these other leaves. And between what's on the stencil and what's on my brush, I think I'm pretty good. I don't have to add more ink at this point. Just wanted to get a little extra touch of color. And get the tip of this one. And I think that's good for this stencil number 1. And then stencil number 2 will come in and do the same thing with our leaves. I'll get the woodland moss back out and start with that first. And then come back in with the tourmaline. I think I'm saying that word right. I don't know. I don't know what tourmaline is. I don't know if it's a thing or not, or if it's just a color, but it's pretty. I played with it last week for the first time, and I was like, oh, I really like this color. So here we are with it again today. I tend to kind of do that. I think I'll try something, and it's like, ooh, and then I'll just keep going with it for a little bit. I'll just go around and get all these leaves, trying to keep my fingers out of the way, which isn't too easy when you have a big hand like me. Oh gosh. Just going around. getting that dark at the base. My Woodland Moss isn't quite as, my ink pad isn't quite as inky as my Tourmaline. And let's see, which one is this one? This one is coming from here. So this is the base, oops, down here on this one. So just kind of get these both at the same time. And lighten that up. I'll try to go around both directions all around so that I have color everywhere on these leaves. There's a little speck of leaf there. And this one that sits behind the flower, I'm not too worried about it. I'll just let the ink flow where it wants to on that one. And this one again, darker at the bottom than at the tip. Get this big leaf here. And then these are going outward. And so long as it goes all the way to the bottom, I didn't worry as much about the edge. I just wanted the bottom to go all the way down. And get some ink on there. Almost done with these leaves for this part of the project anyway. Okay, so then I'll bring my Tourmaline in and just do some more, add more contrasting color. And the main thing, I want to make sure I get the tips. I come up the side a little bit. And then here, I'm going to come down. Grab this one. This one is kind of right here. Make sure I get the tip on this one too. And grab the tip on that one. And this, I think I'll just come down the side, because you can't really, the tip is technically off of the page. And this, I'll grab the bottom and go up a little bit. And this one, we'll grab that bottom again, bring it up just along this side all the way to the tip. And you don't really have to do every leaf, I don't imagine, but I pretty much did for my sample. So I'll just kind of stick with what I did, because I like the look. And it's never going to be exactly the same each time, but you can get it close sometimes. And let's see, we've got our base here. So bring that color up. I might need a little more ink. And coming around on this one, same way. Just adding that extra little bit of color. And here we go for this guy. Get our pretty little leaves together. Just kind of playing around with the shading just to give some variation of color is really all I'm trying to do. I really want that tip a lot more green than it is. Okay, I think I got everybody. So those are all my leaves. And then we'll come in with our flowers. Now there are two pink ones. I'll do pink right here. And then these I'm going to do in spiced plum. And again, I want like a really light color initially, and then I'll make it a little darker. So let me see. I think I'll start with the antique pink. Oh, it's a semi-precious stone. Thanks, Rebecca. I had no idea. I learned something new. I'm always learning new things, and I love that. Never stop learning. Keeps your brain going. That's what my dad always said. You're never too old to learn. He always told me that. And I think he was right. And then this other little flower here in the top is going to be pink also. And there's already a base of pink down there. So this one will be just a teeny bit darker than the one below. And I'll just leave that light, I think just nice and light. And then I'll come in with some more shading when I do the other stencil. And then I'll do the same thing in Spice Plum for the three bigger flowers. Well, I say three, technically it's two and two. This big one down here at the bottom is really big enough to be two, but and I just want it to be nice and light for this layer. And then we'll add a little more color on the next layer. I did a little darker right there than I wanted, but it will all work out in the end. Let's see, and a little more here so that blue is just enough to make sure that blue is not showing through anymore. And then we'll do the same thing for, let me take some tissue and wipe some of this off. I don't want any pink popping in there. And we'll just go around and get our, I call it base coat, but it's just the bottom layer, really light. So I want to see that it's not that cream color, but it's not going to be as dark as the flower itself. This is what will show through on the veining of the flower. So just nice light spiced plum color. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's see, I went a little further there than I wanted to, but that's okay. And here we'll add, this is stencil number 4, and we're just going to add the detail onto our flower. And I'll go ahead, since I've got Spice Plum open, I'll go ahead and do these flowers first. And I want the center of this flower and all the way down in here. I want this area to be darker than the other parts. So I'm going to kind of start in the center here and get a nice deep purple on that. And then I'll add more color to the rest of the flower. And I'll just keep deepening that center as I go and pick up a little more color because I want there to be a nice contrast on the flower. We'll go around all directions. Get a nice spice plum color going everywhere with that deeper center. And we keep going. I want the actual center of the flower to be nice and deep as well. Just gonna, and then I want to come around those edges and add a nice deep tone. And carry it in so that it's not too stark in between, but there's some little lighter patches that we want to get. And this part of the petal that's bent up, I want that darker too. Just going to go in and add your color, however you like to color. You can't mess these up. I'm telling you, they're so well designed. You really can't mess them up at all, I don't think. Okay, so then for this one, I want this area in here to be darker. So I'm going to start there. And just kind of do the same thing I did for the other one. Just go all the way around, adding another layer of color. And I think I need to keep talking. Gotta watch where I'm putting this ink down too, because I tend to not pay attention until I put ink somewhere that I didn't want it, like on the tip of that pink rose. But this rose in the middle is going to be purpley pink instead of just a solid pink. But so that's okay anyway. So now I'm going to just go ahead around these edges again and add some, deepen that color on those edges just a bit. And I could use a smaller brush right here because these places are so close. Actually, do I have my smaller one over here? Maybe I did. Let's see. I got a pink one. Here we go. Because the edges are really close together over here, and I want to have the same effect, but I don't want to go too far into this pink rose up here in the corner. We can add a little bit more here. think that'll be good enough for that one. And then put this lid back on, get this out of the way, and I'll go do the antique pink here. And for this, I didn't really have much of a method. I just kind of added the pink to get it deep enough that doesn't get drowned out by my purple. Clean the stencil off just a little bit because I've already got some bleeding going on, so I don't want too much. Oh, a little bit's okay, but I don't want a lot. And I may even go around this one with the Spice Plum just to make it be consistent. I don't know, we'll have to see. I'll lift it up and look at it and see. I think that's what I want to do. Even if I don't do this one, I definitely think I want to do that one because I got over so far. So let me bring I'll just use whatever ink is left on here just to add a hint of color so it looks like it was purposeful when I added that spiced plum. That was almost a disaster. So this one will be purpley pink. Okay. Do I want to do it up here? Yeah, why not? Let's just go for it. Make some lemonade. It's going to be pretty no matter how you do it because you cannot mess these up. I'm telling you, that's what I love about Lisa Stencils. You can't really mess them up. Okay. And then now we're just going to go in and add some highlights. We're going to put some stems on, and I'm just going to use the Woodland Moss for my stems. And then we'll add some detail to the leaves with the next stencil. And you could use, browns for your stems, but I just decided to go ahead and go with the green. I like that look for this one. And while I'm thinking about it, be sure to set your calendars for Wednesday. Lisa's going to have a shopping spree. It'll be 2 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock GMT and 9 a.m. Eastern. So be sure to set your calendar for that. Okay, that's stencil number 5. And then our last stencil, we're just going to add some detail on our leaves, and I'll use Woodland Moss for that. Really quick and easy stencil set, but you get such beautiful results with her stencils. I need a little more. Need to re-ink this pad. I think I said that the last time I used Woodland Moss, and I didn't do it, just like I didn't clean my tacky mat either. I get in my craft room and I'm like a little kid. I just start playing and don't do the things I know I'm supposed to be doing. we go. We're almost done with this part. So you can see my ink pad is really dry, so I'm having to work a lot harder than I would if my pad. Okay, I just moved my stencil. Okay, if my pad weren't so dry. Hi, Janet. No, you're never late. There's always replay. And I go with the easy makes, so you can always figure out what I've done pretty much by looking at the final card. That's my goal, is for people to be able to look and tell so that they can create it without a lot of muss or fuss. Okay, so there we go. So that's all of the stenciling that we're going to do for this one. And let me get some of this out of the way, and we'll keep working. All right. Where's my little picky up tool? There we go. I'll move that out of the way for now. And then we'll bring in the embossing folder. And we'll just line this up. And this one, I'll tell you, it takes me a while. Some people can just pop them on because it's very easy to do. Just like it just fits right in there. But sometimes I can't tell if it's my glasses, because it's time for me to get my eyes checked again, I think, based on some of the stuff I have going on. Okay, where's my little thing? I can't even get this paper to lift. Okay. And just get that lined up as best I can. Some of the time I can get it perfectly, and some of the time not so much. But even if it's not 100% perfect, it's still going to be pretty. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. You've got a beautiful card that you made by hand, and you can give it to someone that you really care about. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to run this through my Platinum 6, my Lisa Horton Spellbinders Platinum 6 to be exact. And so let's see how we did. Looks like we did pretty good. And we did. So we got all of our beautiful embossing, and then you can see the pretty little butterfly up here at the top. And so we'll take that now and add it to our card front. Nope, before I do that, I want to add my sentiments. So I used these sentiments, and I already cut out the U, but I have to stamp the "How are you" onto my card. And this, I'm going to bring in my Misty, because I've done all this work and I don't want to have a misstamp at the last second. So let me grab my Misty here. Get this out of the way. And I'm going to stamp this in, what did I do? I actually stamped on the original, I did, and on the U I used Sweet Violet. So I just wanted I still wanted it in the purple family, but I wanted it to be a little different. Trying to get that straight, make sure it's straight. And then before I pick it up, and then I want to look at my U to make sure it's where I want it. And that's, I can move that over that way, I guess. Okay, I think that'll be okay there. So I'll go ahead and pick that up. And it looks straight. Okay, so we're gonna go with that. And then I gotta find my Sweet Violet ink. I forgot to pull that out when I was pulling out my inks. Let me grab it here, because I totally forgot that that's what I did. Okay. Where is Sweet Violet? Here it is. It's staring me in the face. Okay. So, and I'll just ink this up. I'll do it lightly. I'd rather do it more times than I need to. Then let me move this over so you can see where the, there. See what I'm doing? I just do it very lightly. Make sure that didn't move. And this is where I pray a lot. And actually, I think I got it good the first time. I don't even need a second time. So we will not tempt fate. We are going to go ahead and lift this up. And now we can put this onto our card base. And technically, I could have put it on a card base before, but I like to do it when I just have one panel rather than the 2 or 3 panels with the folded card base. So now I need to get my glue, or tape runner in this instance, and put some tape across the back there. This one's about running out. I gotta reload it, but I got enough for this one, so that's all we have to worry about. And then we just need to put this onto our card base. Try and get it straight here. Well, I'll do better when I can see at least both sides. Let's try it this way. I usually have such teeny margins, and these big margins kind of mess me up, because I'm not used to a 1-inch margin. So it takes me a little longer. You would think it would be the opposite way, but I think we got it there. My card base is folded a little crooked, but the front is what matters to me. Okay, there we go. So that is our card. Now we'll finish this off. We need to add the rest of our sentiment, and then I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to the leaves. I love these sentiments. I use them all the time, because so many different occasions just for the one. And let's see. Before I push that down, I think it'll be right about there. Okay, so our final step then is to add a little bit of sparkle. I'm going to use, if I find it, I have a glitter pen here, and I'm just going to do the veining of the leaves and our pretty little butterfly up there in the corner. And so, and I always make sure that I do that glitter brush on something other than my project, because I always get it globbing off on, and then I just kind of stroke, do little light strokes where the veining is. And you don't have to worry about getting every single vein, but just, go through and add just a teeny touch of shimmer, especially when it's being held by the recipient. So I think it's a little nice touch. And if you don't have too much glitter on that brush tip, it's really easy just to do quick light strokes and not end up with big fat glitter marks, because you don't want that. You really want the inking and the embossing to really just show and just have that teeniest bit of glimmer to it. Not a lot. And we'll grab these. Oops, there's way too much ink on there. Try to look before I actually touch the paper, because this tends to, oops, just like that, do that, and I don't like that. Okay, come on here, glitter brush. You need to be cooperating with me. And this guy, I probably should have gone from the top down, but doesn't matter that much, I don't think. Just want a little bit. And you don't even have, that's what I was trying not to have happen, that. Because I don't like that big glob. My brush it's really old. I'll try to use as much as there without adding any more to my brush, so that it's not too glittery. I don't want a lot of glitter. Just want a little. Just a little bit. Okay, you don't want me singing, I'll tell you that. It's funny, I don't know if I ever told you, when I was young, I have two younger sisters. I'm the oldest. And Diana Ross and the Supremes were really, really the thing when I was, I don't know, 13 or 14, I guess. And so I was determined we were going to be the next Diana Ross and the Supremes. And my sister, of course, I had to be Diana Ross because I was the oldest, and my sisters were going to be the backup. They were not willing participants. And so we'd be in our basement practicing. And they didn't want to do it, but I was the oldest, so if they wanted me to play with them, they had to sing. And I tease them to this day. I said, if you guys had been more cooperative, we might be rich now. Okay, so we're done there, and I'm gonna want to make sure I don't get a big glob, because I want to do my butterfly, and I just want to get the glob out so I have enough ink, and I'll just kind of brush over that butterfly and give it just a little bit of glimmer. So pretty, such a pretty folder. There we go. Gotta watch this brush. It might be time for me to replace it, because it keeps trying to be globby, and I don't want globby. Just brush it over and brush it around. Get his little antenna tips. And there you go. So that is our project for today. This is the Rose Butterfly 3D embossing folder and layering stencils. And I thank you so much for your time today. I'm glad you're here. Remember, Claire will be live tomorrow and Wednesday. Get your pennies ready because it's shopping day. We're going to have a shopping spree. So check out the times on the website. I'm pretty sure it's 2 o'clock in overseas and 9 a.m. here in the States on Eastern time anyway. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and you have a fantastic week and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show the other little one. I don't know if anybody's still with me. I haven't ended. I forgot to show you this little note card. I did the same thing, except I didn't add any detail on the leaves. No glitter. I used another of Lisa's sentiment stamps, and I used one of the butterflies from the composition dies. So if you want a shortcut version of the same card with the same kind of look, there's a way that you can do that. So now I'll say goodbye. Thank you again. Bye for now.